What happened to the official recorder? Where has he been?
Vacation.
He's on vacation.
Oh.
Vacation. Okay, so Ve'elu Nishalim Urim Vitumim. So these you can ask. You ask the Urim Vitumim, right? Meaning, where the Mishnah says that only Chashuvim and only the king and or anything that's a tzarech for Klal Yisrael. Yes, so Kiyasar Rav Dimi Amar Begadim Shekayin Gadol Meshamash Ben Beshuach Mulchama Meshamash Ben. The same, right? So before that's a Hakatama. There's a Kohen gadol, right? And then there's a Kohen gadol that to go out to war with, and then sometimes you have a replacement Kohen gadol. But anyway, so the Kohen gadol, who they make him to a Kohen gadol to go out to war. So then he puts on the same Shemaina Begadim that the regular Kohen gadol, the active Kohen gadol does. Kiyasa Rav Dimi. So the one that gets anointed for war also uses Shenemar. The big day kodesh that for Aaron will be for his sons after him. That means for those that become great after him. Yeah, meaning, so what's the word acharov? What do you need the word acharov for? So meaning the one after, meaning the second in command. Yeah, so that's the Kohen Gadol who's Mashuach Mulchama. So most of the Rabbi Barav has a kasha on this. And some say it's not him, meaning nobody knows who it is. So you would think if that's the case, then who replaces the Kohen Gadol? So his son has rights to it. So maybe the Mashuach Mulchama, meaning the backup Kohen Gadol, maybe his son also should have it. The same way a Kohen Gadol's son gets it, right? Which is a whole tumult, which we're not going to get into. Is there yichus? Is there Yerusham? By public positions or not? Does a Rosh Hashiva get to appoint his kid? Does a rabbi get to appoint the kid? Bezdin, whatever. That's a whole tumult unto itself, right? But anyway, so the question is that we're saying that the Kohen Gadol, the Mashuach Mulchama, is the same level as the regular Kohen Gadol. So then maybe the son should also get it. So Talmud Loimar, so the pasuk says, Shivas Yom Yuvashem HaKohen Tachta Mivanav. For 7 days, right? The Kohen will be under him, right? Asher Yavai Aloyal Mayid, and he's going to come into the Aloyal Mayid. So what does this mean? Bisharoi Lavai Aloyal Mayid. It's only the person the only one whose kids, the only Kohen whose kids will get dibs on the kahuna is the Kohen who has the ability to go into the Oyel Mayid, right? And only the main Kohen Gadol gets it, not the one that's Mashuach Mulchama. V'imisa, so what's the kasha? V'imisa, Michsa Chazi, he could go in if he's wearing the Shemaina Megadim, if the Kohen Gadol, if there's two Kohanim Gedolim, right? Walking around with Shemaina Megadim, so the Mashuach Mulchama can also go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Meaning, it's if you don't wear the Shemaina Megadim, you can't go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. But we're saying that this fellow, this Kohen Mashuach Mulchama is allowed to go into the Kodesh, is allowed to wear Shemaina Megadim. If that's the case, he can go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. In which case, his kids should be able to become appointed after he dies. So since we're saying that he can't, so then the whole svara that he wears the Shemaina Megadim gets reversed. So that's the kasha. So this is what it means. Whoever is the ikar one anointed to go into the Amud, that's the one whose kids inherit him. It excludes the Kohen who's Mashuach Mulchama, right? Who his main job is not to go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Meaning, so only the Kohen whose main job is to go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, Kohen Gadol, to go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim is the one whose kids inherit him. So Meisvei, so they asked the Kasha, Mashuach Mulchama, Eina Meshamash Loi Ba'arba Kohen hedyot, Loi B'Shemaina Kohen Gadol. I don't know why I think we had this Gemara before, or some reference to it. The Mashuach Mulchama, right? So he's there when they go to war.
We had it about the Skan Kohen Gadol. You had the same thing.
About the Skan?
Yeah, once he puts on the Shemaina Begadim, can he go back to Egypt?
Then he's done, right? So he's in no man's land. The Mashuach Mulchama, he can't use the regular Kohen hedyots, because then he's going down in kedusha. and he can't wear the shmeina Kohen gadol, right? Because he's not the Kohen gadol. So it's a kasha. The kasha is very obvious. We just said that he does wear the shmeina gadol. So what this price is saying, not right. So Amar le Abaya, Ela zar mishavis le. Right. So what are you going to say? You're making him into a zar. So what's the point of this Kohen? He's not a regular Kohen, and he's not a Kohen gadol. So what are you going to do? Ela Kohen gadol. He's like a Kohen gadol mishum eva, right? But because of eva, and so therefore he's meaning he's not like a Kohen gadol because of eva. What means what? That eva normally we use as a lashon of not getting along. Right, so we're afraid that the Kohen gadol is going to have competition. Right, the Kohen gadol is going to have competition, and therefore he's we don't want that. So therefore we can't have him be like the Kohen gadol. The Kohen hedyot mishum ma'alim b'kodesh v'lo meridin. Kohen hedyot, it's because ma'alim b'kodesh v'lo meridin. So basically, what the Gemara is saying is that really he could wear the shmeina gadol and he should wear the shmeina gadol, but we tell him not to because we don't want competition.
He was so
Right?
insecure.
So he's in no man's land now.
He's mamish in no man's land. Yeah. So you're asking what's the Kohen gadol? What kind of Kohen gadol is this, right?
I'm saying he was insecure that some Kohen Mashiach is wearing the same begodim as him. So he's nervous.
Yeah, it's competition. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if it means that. But I mean, yeah, it does mean that. So, but what it is that the Torah is just assuming that there's human nature, and human nature is human nature.
You don't want to make them feel bad. Yeah, you don't want to make the other Kohen gadol feel bad.
We had it before also, Ava, where the Kohen gadol is going to be nervous if there's another his backup Kohen roaming around.
Yeah, that's the Sagan. We had it by the Sagan.
Right. So he's going to get him nervous that he might die and all that. Right. That was also part of it. Yes.
Also, we're going to get him nervous that he don't make a mistake. That's, I think, a different shot we learned. That's why he'll be real careful not to let the other guys waiting for the job. He's going to make sure not to do anything wrong.
Yeah, right. That's true. Right, talking. So anyway, so the pshat here is that Rashi says midaraisa he could wear the shmeina gadol. He just doesn't do it midarabana because of eva. Fine. So Amarle Rav, this is a very long kasha now. Amarle Rav 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 V'hai Tana the Leslie Eva. So this Tana. Yeah.
I got it.
You got what we're up to? I'm sorry. We started a little early. I don't know if you saw the WhatsApp.
I saw it now at 9:00.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. We waited. We pushed it for as long as possible.
It's okay.
All the Myers at 9:30, and others have to drive.
So you don't have to.
No. I'm thanking the Olam for.
Baron, you missed a lot of jokes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I'm related about the Barav the Rav. If I Tana the Leslie Ava, right? This Tana who doesn't hold of Ava, the Loika Mishamish, and he holds that the Mishuach Milchama, the Kohen that's Kohen gadol, Mishuach Milchama, doesn't wear the Shmeina Begadim. Meaning, we just said that really you should wear Shmeina Begadim, but because of Ava, you don't, because we don't want to have any sort of animosity. So we have a Tana who's going to say that he doesn't hold of animosity, and he says that the Kohen Mishuach Milchama should not wear the Shmeina Begadim. The Tanya, the Devarim Shebein Kohen gadol, the Kohen hedyot. What are the differences between a Kohen gadol and a Kohen hedyot? So par Kohen Mashiach or par Haba Al Mitzvahs. That's the Gra. It's interesting. The Gra says you put the par Haba Al Mitzvahs in parentheses because it's the same thing, right? So par Haba, meaning both of those mean that he made a mistake if he passed in wrong. Upar Yom Kippurim. And obviously, the power of Yom Kippur is only for Kohen gadol. Asirus Ha'efa, we know every day that he brings the Asirus Ha'efa, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Loi Pereya, he doesn't leave his hair if he becomes an oval, right? He has to still cut his hair every day. We say, how do we say? Once a week. Kohen gadol is once a week. I think so, right? A melech is every day. Kohen gadol once a week. Once a week, and a regular Kohen is once a month, right? So like Pereya, so even if he's an Avelus, he doesn't let his hair grow long, but like Pyrim, and he doesn't tear his clothing either. But what he does, he tears it on the bottom, right? He tears it on the bottom of his beged. By hedyot milamala, but a kohen hedyot tears his clothing milamala. Agav, I just have to say, because this Gemara made me think about it. Dayan Fisher, Zechron L'Racha, told my father, Zechron L'Racha, that when he goes to the Kaisel, and this was a common Corona shiloh, because lots of people didn't go to the Kaisel for 30 days. They want to know if they could tear Kriya. Even if you're in Yerushalayim, you have to tear Kriya when you haven't seen the Kaisel in 30 days. So he told my father that he should tear his shirt on the bottom. Right? I don't know where he got it from. This is the only, from what I remember, this is the only time that I came across that where there's such a concept of tearing kriya on the bottom. But that's what he told. That's what he told my father. So that's what I do when I go, but I don't go often enough, unfortunately. But
and you said you wear the same shirt over and over.
Yeah, that you could for sure do. But it's interesting that here the Kohen Gadol is supposed to tear it on the bottom. I don't know. Okay. Ve'ein metama, right, the last thin line. Ve'ein metama l'krayvav, and he does not become tummy. The Kohen Gadol does not become tummy to his relatives, right? I mean, it was in the Gemara's in Sanhedrin. It's about that. And mitzuva ala basula. This is also interesting lashon. He's mitzuva. He's commanded to marry a basula. Muzar ala almana, and he has a lav to marry an almana, meaning it seems like it's a mitzvah asay for him to marry a basula, meaning marry somebody who was never married, but to marry an almana is a lav, right? It's a difference. If he doesn't marry a basula, he's not over on a lav. But he is over on a lav if he marries. Meaning, if he marries a grusha, he's mevatel a mitzvah asay, but he's not over on any loisa says. But on almana he is. Okay, and if he dies, then the Ritzach leaves Galus, somebody who killed B'Shaygir, and he's still makriv his karbanos even when he's in Einin, right? And regular Kohen is not when he's in Einin, meaning when between the death and the burial, right? So he's in Einin, so he's still makriv karbanos, but he doesn't eat. He doesn't eat from the karbanos. And he doesn't take any parts of, he gets the first dibs, right? But he still has get the chelik barosh, yeah, and then I guess he could eat it after he's an. How can he marry a gerusha? No, he can't. I'm just saying it's not a lav.
That's well, it's not a lav. Isha gerusha lo sikach. Isha gerusha meisha lo sikach. The pasuk.
So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. 1 second. That's talking about a kohen or a kohen gadol.
If it's going on a kohen, the zich is going on a kohen gadol.
No, I know Chanabi, but I don't think there's an extra lav for a kohen gadol.
Okay, but it says lo sikach. So
meaning right, okay. Because it's a lav for a kohen. But I'm saying there's no extra isser on the kohen gadol. There's an extra isser for almana. There's no extra isser for grusha. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying this that he has to marry a basula is a mitzvah saseh, not a lois saseh. Meaning, right. I don't want to bring it up. We haven't brought it up, I think, in 2 days. But for a woman to cover her hair, right? It's not a lav. It's not a lav. Meaning, if a woman doesn't cover her, she's not over on a lav. She's mavatal a mitzvah saseh, right? There's no punishment to her if she. I mean, at least the pashtus in the Sanhedrin. Either way, okay, but that's what it is. And he uses the 8 begadim, and he's also potter if a kohen comes into the base of mikdash when he's tamei, so there's a chiyuv, but not for a kohen gadol. And none of the avodas in Yom Kippur are kosher except for him. And all these things are noyeg by a kohen who the way he got what do you call it? When he gets when they appoint him, right? Is that the word? There's a word.
Anointed.
Yeah, he doesn't know, but they were talking right. No, he didn't get anointed. What?
Kohen HaMashuach or something?
No, but the Kohen HaMashuach is the way they. Well, that's Mashuach Muhammad. Normally, the Kohen is supposed to get oil poured on his head. But after that, once we lost the oil, so the way he did it was by putting on the Shmoyim Begadim.
But the Begadim, right.
Inaugurated. That's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Inaugurated? Yeah. Meaning when he gets inaugurated, he doesn't, even if he just gets inaugurated, putting on the Shmoyim Begadim, that's enough. Chutz mipara ba kol mitzvahs. Meaning, so by a kohen who there's a dip, meaning the point the Mishnah is saying, or is it a Brisa? Brisa saying is that there's a difference between, even amongst Kohen gadols, there's a difference between a Kohen gadol who got anointed with oil and a Kohen gadol who became Kohen gadol just by putting on the Shemona Begadim. Obviously, it's not, he didn't just pick up the Shemona Begadim, he got appointed to that. But the one who only did it by Shemona Begadim is Par Haba Akala Mitzvahs, right? So that because he does not bring a Par Haba Akala Mitzvahs. The Kula Noyagas b'Mashuach Sha'avar, and all these halachas do apply to a Kohen who was Mashuach Milchama, and then he's done. Chutz mi Par Yom Kippur v'Asir Seifa, except for the Par Yom Kippur v'Asir Seifa. Right? So let's just finish. V'Kulan ein Noyagas b'Mashuach Milchama, and they're not Noyag with a Mashuach Milchama. I said Mashuach Milchama, that's a regular Mashuach. And they're also not Noyag b'Mashuach Milchama. Chutz mi Chamesha Devarim Hamurim b'Parsha, except for the 5 things that it says in the parsha that are specific and go exclusively to the Kohen Gadol. Like Pereya, he doesn't cut his hair. But like Pyramid, he doesn't cut his clothing. Like Matam he doesn't come to his relatives. And Mutzuva al Basula, Muzar al Manam. Umasar Azritzeach. Kediver Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda holds even if he dies, he does. The guys go out of Golis, and the Chacham say he doesn't. Yeah. So what do you see from this? Because there's no problem with Ava, because all of them are wearing Shemona Begadim. All these Kayanim, the Mashuach that was Mashuach Sha'avar, and the Mashuach Milchama, they're all wearing the Shemona Begadim. Right? I'm sorry, no, the Mashuach Milchama does not wear. The Mashuach Milchama does not wear the Shemona Begadim. He's only compared to the Kohen Gadol in 5 ways. Right? He doesn't cut his hair, he doesn't cut his clothing, he doesn't become tummy to his relatives, he has to marry a basula and not an almana, and he is machzir ritzeh. It doesn't say anywhere there that the Mashuach Milchama wears the Shemona Begadim. So clearly, this brisa doesn't care about Ava, right? And it says that he doesn't wear the Shemona Begadim. So Gemara answers, Ki lesle Ava, when there's no Ava but the Kavasa, when there's somebody that's equal to him, meaning the Kohen Gadol who was Kohen Gadol and he retired can still walk around with the Shemona Begadim, because the Kohen Gadol the active Kohen Gadol doesn't feel sort of any bad, because this is the same level Kohen as him. But if there's a Kohen Gadol who's only appointed Kohen Gadol for wars, then he's not really a Kohen Gadol. So if he walks around with the Shemona Begadim, that's going to make him nervous. So that's the way the Gemara is being matared. So again, there's really 4 levels of Kohen Gadol that comes out of here. There's the regular Kohen Gadol, then there's the regular Kohen Gadol who was anointed with oil. A regular Kohen Gadol was anointed with Begadim. There's the regular Kohen who was active and then retired, and then there's the Mashuach Milchama. The lowest level is the Mashuach Milchama, and that we're worried about Ava. The other ones we're not worried about Ava because they were once legitimate Kohen Gadol. Fine. So Yasser Rabbi Vo Ka'amar Lal Hashmait. So Rabbi Vo was sitting and said over this Gemara, Mishmeid Rabbi Yochanan, name Rabbi Yochanan. Adrinu Rabbi Ami Ravasi La Payu, and Rabbi Ami Ravasi turned away.
Be afraid of the Mashuach Milchama.
The practical, you would say.
He got
right?
the army. He got the army. He has the army with him.
You mean you watch out if there's a coup?
That's right. He's the man. He's the one who talks to the soldiers to have an allegiance to him.
In halacha, the biggest part of the soldiers were the Talmidei Chacham they took to war. I'm not so sure how the allegiance works with Talmidei Chacham.
Thanks, Gershon. I thank you. Okay, fine. Yeah, only the Chafetz Chaim went to war David and Melachim. I'm sorry I said such a thing. Sorry.
Anyways, so he said this over Shem Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Ami Ravasi turned away because they were not happy. Meaning they were saying, right? Rashi says what they were saying is that they turned away like, what is he saying b'Shem Rabbi Yochanan? So they didn't make a macha, but they just turned away. Zika Damri, Rav Chia bar Ava Amra, others say Rav Chia bar Ava said it, V'adrinu Rav Ami v'Ravasi lapayu, and Rav Ami Ravasi are the ones that turned away. Yeah, so Maskal Rav Papa Bishlam Rav Avo Mishum Yikra de Bekesa. I didn't really get this, right? So we understand Rabbi Vo. So he was very chashuv by the Caesar, right? So therefore, what? They didn't want to say anything. El Reb Chia bar Abba, name Rulei Meimar. Why couldn't you tell him straight out? Lo Yomer Reb Yochanan. Reb Yochanan didn't say this. Right? Well, so what does him mean with the Caesar? What, they were afraid that he's going to kill them if they open their mouths? Is that what that means? Or he's going to do something to them because he's close to the government? Is that the pshat? I mean, the one is asking. So we understand the first version because he's close to the Caesar. So therefore, what? They can't say anything. So they just turn away in disgust. I don't know. I didn't understand. I think that's
maybe
the pshat,
they didn't want to put him down to take away his yichus from over there. Like maybe he did them favors or something like that.
You mean if the Caesar finds out that they're not being mashal of what he says, then he's going to lose?
Yeah.
I hear.
Yeah.
That's a much better shot than I thought of. Much more positive shot. Okay, good. Okay, I hear that. So fine. So that's what it says. Also, Ravin. So Ravin said nishal itmar. He said that what it means. That's only when he was asking the urim vitumim. Meaning, when is it that the Kohen Mashuach Muhammad is supposed to wear the Shemina Begadim? That's only when they go out to war, they have to ask the urim vitumim, right? That's the way they did it in Nach. You asked the urim vitumim for permission. So when the Mashuach Muhammad asked the urim vitumim, then he put on the Shemina Begadim. Otherwise, he didn't wear the Shemina Begadim. So that answers up all the questions. So we have a brisa like that. That the begadim that the Kohen gadol normally wears, the Mashuach Muhammad, when he gets asked, that's when he wears it. Okay, so Tana Rabbanon, Ketzat Shoylin, how do you go ask the urim vitumim? What's the process of asking the urim vitumim? So Shoyl Panav Klape Nishal, the one who's asking is his face is opposite the Kohen gadol who's being asked, right? And the one that's being asked, his face is opposite the Shechina. So how does that work? Right? Back to back, they faced each other, right? Wasn't there something like that? How could that? How's this working? The one who's asking the question, let's say,
shot each other or something.
Yeah, so something like that, right? So the one is asking is looking at the Kohen gadol, right? And the Kohen gadol is facing the Shechina, right? So it has to be that what do you call it? I checked it up in the article. The article says that he looks down. What it means, he's looking, the Shechina is answering him from the Choshen, right? So Memela, he looks down, and that's called looking at the Shechina. I don't remember where they got that from. Right? Okay, anyway, so the Shoyl says, should I go after this? The God is an army. Initial Oimer, Koyamar Hashem, go out and be matzliach. So that's the answer. You don't have to say this is what Hashem said, because that's pashut, that he's answering for Hashem. Ella, all of atzlach, go and be matzliach. Right? Fine. So that's how the process is of asking. Second word says, "Ain't shayla b'kol." You don't ask him in a loud voice. You don't ask the urim vitumim in a loud voice. Shenemar b'shaloi, right? And you ask him. So b'shaloi means to him, not loud enough that anybody else should hear. V'loi maharer b'liboy, and you don't think about it either, right? Shenemar b'shaloi l'fnei Hashem, and you ask him in front of Hashem, right? And then the pasuk says, "Al piv yetzu," right? That's the way you do it. Is like Chana did it with her tefillah. She spoke on her heart, meaning which is that she was speaking, but it wasn't heard. Her tefillah was not heard. Fine. Then what else with the urim vitumim? Ain't shayin l'shnei dvarim ke'echad. You don't ask for two things at once, right? Meaning, don't ask two questions at once. Ask one at a time. And if you do ask twice, he's only going to answer one. And the one that he's going to answer is the first one. Right? Are they going to make. I don't remember who this pasuk is referring to. But it says, are they baliki? Are they going to go to Shaul? Meaning, are they going to? I'm sorry, yes, Shaul, right? Hayer Shaul, meaning, are the leaders? Is Shaul going to be matzliach or not? Or so Vayomer Hashem, Yoran, he said, yes, he will go down, right? So therefore, this is right. This is with David and Shaul having the whole fight with David. With David, he was trying to capture David. So he said, is it gonna happen again? He said, it's gonna happen again. So so what we said, he only answers one, and here he answered two. So David asked on David Beis, Shaloi Keseder, he asked it in the wrong order. And the urim vitumim answered him in the proper order. And then when David chapped that he asked it incorrectly in the wrong order, then he went and asked it in the right order. Shenemar, Hiskirani Bali Kiila, Oisi, Ves Anoshai, right? Yeah. The Yad Shol, Vayomer Hashem, Yaskiru. And he said they are going to come. Right? So what's going on over here? So then, meaning, so David asked it in the wrong order. So therefore, really, he was asking two separate questions. I guess it was two separate questions. It came out of order. So then he chapped to fix it. So that's why it was two questions. It was two questions at once. Yeah. It's lahavdil elef alfei avdolos. I get a text of multiple questions, so I answer them in the order they're asked, like yes, no, da. Then they say which question's going on which. So I say to them, I answer in the order that they're received. Right? Isn't that what you do? Right? So I don't know. Yeah. Right? But if it needs two answers, right? Meaning Rashi says that it's something that's very important and you don't have time. Yeah. So machzirin loy shnayim. So then he'll answer both at the same time. I think this means at the same time, right? Meaning at the exact same time, or does it mean one right after the other? But again, if it's very important,
I think it would have
both.
to mean one after the other because a human being can't hear two things at the same time.
I mean, it's not like the what's it called, the Seres Adibris, or no, it wasn't Seres Adibris. How did it go? Right, they all said the same, but that was okay. I hear. Okay, I guess it means one after the other. Should I go after this army? Right, and am I going to reach them? You're gonna get to them and you'll be saved. And even though a gezer of a navi can go back, which was Yoina, right? Because Yoina, I don't know, it's interesting. It's a gezer from the navi. I thought it's coming from Hashem, and the navi is just saying over what the gezer is. But here it's called the gezer of the navi, right? So Yoina, the gezer was taken back once they improved. So gezer urim vitumim ain't a gezer. The gezer of the urim vitumim, that's not, once the urim vitumim says something, that's the way it goes. Shenemar, the mishpat urim, with the judgment of the urim. Yeah. So then Naminik Shman urim vitumim. Why are they called urim vitumim? Urim shemeirin devreim, because they light up their words. Tumim shemeshlimin devreim, and their words are full. Right, meaning it's gonna, whatever's gonna be is gonna be. Right? It keeps its word. Vim taimar, they give us binyamin mipnei ma lo yishlimu. So how come it didn't come true by give us binyamin? So that's the one of the wild stories in Shoftim with the Pelegish Begiva. Right, so they came and they were ma'anis the Pelegish Begiva, and she was so traumatized that she died. So then they decided that they have to go after binyamin. And they asked Urim Vitumim, and he said, yeah. And then they went and they lost the war. And then they asked Urim Vitumim again, and they lost the war. And then finally, the third time, they won. So the Urim Vitumim told them to go down and do it, yet they lost the war. So isn't that fakir? Isn't that the opposite of what we just said? That whatever the Urim Vitumim says is correct, right? So again, Vim Tamer give us Binyam name Ma'ala Yashlimu. So the Gemara says, Haim Shaloi Bichnu Im Lanatech Im Lanatech. The people They didn't ask the urim vitumim if they're going to win or not. They just asked if they should go fight. When they at the end, when they understood to ask whether they're going to win or to lose, right? Then he was the urim vitumim was masking to them. Shenemar, and this week's parsha. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron. I mean, it's not this, but Pinchas ben Elazar this week's parsha at the end. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron. I mean, lefanav b'yom mehem lemar. Right? Should I go or should I not go? Right? Go, because tomorrow I'm going to give them into your hands. Fine. To Kates and Nasis. How did they ask the urim vitumim? So Rav Yochanan Omar, not how they asked. That was on Amud Aleph. How they asked. How did it answer? So Rav Yochanan Omar boilotus. It sticks out, right? Meaning, because they had all the names of the shvatim, and at least right now the Gemara just thinks the shvatim. Yeah, so the letters would stick out. The letters would stick out from the names, and then it would spell it out, and they would, and then they would figure out what it's saying. Rish Lakish mitzdarfus. Rish Lakish says they are mitzdarf. Right, Rashi says that he's chaylik on them, that they actually formed the letters. I mean, they didn't have to, according to Rav Yochanan, they had to figure out. They had to play a Scrabble, I guess, lahavdil, right, or something like that. They had to figure out what it was saying. And Rish Lakish says no, it was combined. Oh, boy, like does
that mean there was room for error?
I wonder that, right? Isn't that open for
Yeah,
interpretation?
they had it by Chana. They said it to Sheira,
right? So there was. Yeah, so I don't know why it was the fee that there's confusion, right?
Yeah. They got to know how to read it.
Yeah. So okay, so then the Gemara says there's no tzadi in any of the shvatim. So let's say they needed to have a letter with a tzadi, like or hatzel tatzel, right? Which we just learned that it said. So how did you get to that word? So Yitzchak, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Shom, because it's also Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So then you have a tzadi. Tes, but there's no tes. It says Shiftei Yeshurun. So there's a test there too. So there's a lot more on all the pictures don't have all these, right? It just has the shvatim, right? But it also, according to this Gemara, at least has Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and also says Shiftei Yeshurun. Fine, Meisvei. So they asked the kasha, Kol Kohen she'enim medaber b'ruach hakodesh. Any Kohen who doesn't speak Ruach HaKodesh, Ushchina Shayra Love, and the Shechina is not on him. Ain Shaylin boy, you can't ask him. Sharei Shal Tzaddik for also, right? Because Tzaddik, yeah.
The Shechina Shayra Love means the Shechina's not on him. It's going with the beginning. It's
Kol Kohen she'enim medaber b'ruach hakodesh. He doesn't speak lashon kodesh. Yes, and Shechina Shayra, meaning both. The law is going on both. I mean, the Shechina Shayra love is pretty good, no?
I think the Shechina is Shayra on him, no?
Well, I thought the Shechina Shayra on him, so then why wouldn't you be able to listen to him?
Because he's not medaber b'ruach hakodesh. Need both.
Art Scroll says does not rest. The Shechina does not rest on him.
There you go. But he doesn't like Art Scroll, so
I'm not saying.
You have to give
I'm
it
not
him.
I'm not saying Art Scroll is right. I'm just telling you what it says.
Yeah, okay.
The words don't fit.
Well, you're right. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. The initial reading would be like what you're saying. It should say V'shem. Not that I'm teaching diktuk to the Gemara. I can hardly understand diktuk for anything. Right. I don't know. You got to check the Rishonim and see. But anyway, that's I think the pshat. I mean, it makes more sense that if he doesn't have Shechina and he doesn't have Ruach HaKodesh, then don't ask. So anyway, so basically, Kol Kohen she'enim medaber b'ruach hakodesh, Shechina Shayra Olav, ain't Shaylin boy. You don't ask him. Sharei Shal Tzaddik v'alsaloi, because Tzaddik asked the urim vitumim for David, right? And it helped. If Yosar, but if Yosar asked and he didn't get an answer, Shenemar Vayalav Yosar Atayim Kolaham, and if Yosar went until everybody was done. This is again all the fights between Avshalom and David, right? So if Yosar went to ask the urim vitumim, yeah, and Tzadok went. He didn't. If Yosar didn't get an answer, Tzadok did get an answer. So anyway, so what's the kasha? Right. So then, meaning if it has to do with just the letters on the, meaning if it's just the choshin, whatever the choshin that's giving you the answer, who cares which kohen is wearing it, right? Meaning we had asked the Gemara and Reish Lakish and Rav Yochanan are both given terutzim that the choshin gives the answer. Either it spells out the words, it doesn't spell, however it works. What does that have to do with the kohen who's wearing it? So the Gemara answers to you, because the kohen does help it out. The kohen helps out the choshin. Yeah. So if it's a kosher kohen, then it works. If it's not,
do they have it? So they have this in Bayis Sheni. We said all the Kohanim Gedolim were bid.
I don't know. Maybe. Fine. So then let's see. And the only one that's allowed to ask the urim vitumim is the melech. Minani really. And he stands in front of Elazar a kohen. And you ask the urim, who's a melech? That's referring to a king. And all the Bnei Yisrael are with him. That's the kohen that's meant for the Melchama. And the whole Eda, Zu Sanhedrin. That's referring to Sanhedrin. So we learn out from the pasuk that those are the only ones that are supposed to ask the urim vitumim. Okay, I guess it's the end of the parak. Hadran lo falei kohen gadol. So we have to get a picture from Peretz wherever he is for the meat. So we gotta find Peretz and get a l'chaim and. Okay, we'll continue.
Yaakov, I'm sure Peretz having a l'chaim. Don't worry.
I'm sure he is. Okay, tomorrow night's stuff, because Friday's stuff is very long, so we'll have to figure it out tomorrow night to go a little. Yeah. Okay.
So you're starting at
quarter to
10. So Yaakov, you're starting
at
quarter to 10 now.
8:45. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go to night, everybody. Gershon, no kashas?
Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, nothing.
I thought
It's pretty straightforward enough.
Yeah, I thought the island got to you tonight. I don't know. I'm feeling guilty. No,
it was good. In the middle of that, there were some excellent compliments. I can't complain.
True. All right, fine. Good to know.
Good to know, Shikaya.